Hello, hello, hello. My name is Sam, otherwise known as Function. Back again with another Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever cast. Find ourselves today on Crossfire Canal 20k map. We're right up there in the ladder ratings, both players over 2100. Thomas Hyatt over here in the red playing Aeon, and Jagged Appliance on the other side playing blue UEF. So let's see how the players do. Not my favourite map. Not a big fan of Crossfire Canal, the pizza map, but it does make for some interesting gameplay. So both players looking like they're going second air, very standard. The typical build order for this map is normally at the minute to send your first two engineers over to this hydrocarbon. I imagine both players will do that. We'll see what they do there. This is Jagged Appliance playing, so I would imagine that this game has already been covered on his channel. I would assume he streamed this, so if you haven't seen that, go over and have a look at this video on his channel. See if you can find this game on his channel first, and then come back to me if you're still interested in my thoughts. Yeah, there we go. Two engineers on their way to the hydrocarbon. They built no mechs from the first two engineers, but still both going for that hydrocarbon. Picking up some reclaim on the way, pretty standard. Thomas Hyatt talking to a brick wall there. Okay. Slow start on Crossfire Canal. This is what usually happens. Obviously, there's a lot separating these two players geographically, so the commanders won't be coming to blows anytime soon. Units will take a long time to find each other. Normally what's going to happen is that each player will send out a transport to one of the other islands. Now that's when we get to the interesting part of the game. Which island does each player pick for the first transport, and then for the second transport? If they both go for the same island, it can get interesting. Bit of a power struggle. Once you've got control of one of these islands, it's very hard for the other player to take control. And if you spend a lot of resources trying to battle it out for an island and then you lose it, that can be pretty significant, because you spend all that time, all those resources, all that mass on an island, and then you don't get anything out of it in the end. You've got to be careful of what you do, where you send your troops. Scout out first. We're going to have an interceptor out second for Jagged Appliance. This looks like that's a transport ship right off the bat. I imagine it will get scouted, so Jagged Appliance probably will know exactly where Thomas Hyatt is sending its first group of engineers. 4 engineers going over to the east, going clockwise. An interceptor already out. Does it have an attack order? It does not. So this interceptor just trying to find its way. This interceptor spotted the transport, like I said. Scout there. A second scout over here trying to just find it. Perhaps it looks like this interceptor does have an attack order, in fact. It's curving around. Not going to get there in time. Second interceptor did come out of the base there, but not in time to stop this drop. It probably will get the transport. Some very nice micro there, sending it back and forth, but in the midst of these two interceptors, I'm not sure the transport's going to get away. The interceptor's of course much faster. Interceptor does come out for Thomas. We've got a second one coming in from the base, but the transport goes down. Did a good job of microing it, but got, not sure how much mass it is, got to sink to the bottom of the water first. 49 mass there, into the drink. Does get the drop off, of course. And on the other side, Jagged Appliance also going to go clockwise, just going to that first island. I haven't actually previewed this this video. I have no idea how this game turns out. Normally I check each video at max speed just to make sure it's an interesting game, make sure there are no desyncs, anything like that. So I have no idea what's going to happen here. This is completely new to me. All I know is how long the video is, and you will know that as well based on the length of this YouTube video. Jagged Appliance doing something slightly different to Tom. He's going to drop down 3 engineers on the first island and then continue going around and going to send out a single engineer onto the further island. He is picking up those rocks, big rocks, 150 and 75 around these shores, just a couple of them. Going to pick those up. Tom sending out his second transport. He had to build an entirely new transport. It's going to drop off 2 engineers. 1 still on the ship. Interceptors getting distracted. It's like these interceptors are outnumbered and surrounded. They will go down. 1 interceptor goes down for Thomas though, so that's 1 for 1. Imagine this interceptor will not escape. And 1 engineer just going to the corner of the island, gonna secure this side. Doesn't want to let Jagged Appliance get an operating base up there. Meanwhile, Jagged sending out 3 engineers on a transport over here to this island. Already got an engineer crossing the river, starting up a land factory just in case. But for the minute, it very much looks like a standard split across the map. 3 islands each. Nothing massively interesting. A couple of air engagements, but other than that, nothing too special. Players are pretty much neck and neck. About 200 total mass in it. Less than that now. Total reclaim 400, 500 in favour of Jagged. Income very much in favour of Tom at the minute. We'll keep an eye on that, see how that progresses. This scout has been spotted by these interceptors. The scout, of course, quite a bit faster, so I imagine it will be escaping. Interceptors from Tom coming in to defend it now. Take a quick look at total numbers. Just 5 for Jagged. I think a similar number. 5 now, was 4, now 5 for Tom. Tom starting T2 air on this factory, 10% complete. See what he comes out with that. Aeon, of course, have access to that T2 fighter, the Swiftwind. Very strong for the mid game, for controlling the air. Much better at destroying other ships compared to the fighter bombers that the UEF and other factions have access to. Of course, no ground attack capabilities from the Swiftwinds, but they make up for it in their air-to-air combat. More engineers, 4 more engineers coming over here. Probably, yeah. Actually, where are they going to go? Not being dropped off just yet, but just going to make sure he secures this island. Not happy with his current level of defense. Got a couple of naval factories going up. 1 here, 1 over here by the looks of it for Jagged. This engineer that sucked up a couple of rocks over here, he's going to come back here and set up naval factory, set up naval production. We've already got 1 naval factory out for Thomas, so certainly earlier, quicker on the draw for Navy, but he's only built the 1, doesn't have any plans for any more just yet. Jagged is dropping off single engineers just around the islands. Gonna suck up these rocks as well. 225 mass right there. Take a look at the reclaim. He's actually behind on reclaim, so that will help him out a little bit. Get him a little bit closer. Got a frigate out already for Tom, so making a play for this central space. No Seraphim player, so we won't see any abhorrent Zui spam. That's one of the reasons I hate this map, because I'm a UEF player, so I don't really get much access to floating units. Seraphim and Aeon, of course, have those horrid floating units. Tom has floating units in the form of Aurora, so he's going to make sure that he gets some early naval presence. Doesn't want to lose to frigate spam out from Jagged. So this engineer got the rocks over here, got the rock over here. Looks like, not sure what he's doing just yet with that one, but he's finished a T2 land factory. Almost finished a T2 air factory, but went for land first. Let's see if we can find that factory over here. Sending out an engineer and starting Riptide, so one of the few land units capable of crossing the water for the UEF, the Riptide. Very strong, got buffed a couple of patches ago, I think, got a pretty significant DPS upgrade, bringing it in line with other floating units. So that, I'd like to see how well he uses those. We'll probably just send a whole lot of them up to this island, maybe straight across, not sure. But that frigate that came out is going to come down and try to get some damage down onto the naval production over here from Jagged. Got a frigate, 80%, 89, 90% complete there. So this frigate will be produced in time. Thomas will not be able to destroy this factory. 3 land factories out now, 4th one on the way. Just the 2, so even though Jagged had... oh no, sorry, 4 land factories and a whole lot more queued up for Jagged. So both players looking like they're going to be spamming lots of Navy. Navy, of course, very, very important on this map. If you get control of the middle section here, you can just put a bunch of cruisers in there, and it makes it very, very hard for the opposing player to maneuver their air forces around. We've got a drop here, looks like just 5 strikers to me, can't see anything else there. Gonna go for the production on this island. They will get dropped off. Micro gets the courier out of danger for now, but it's going to get chased. That attack order has been locked on. These strikers going for some damage onto the factory. Probably better to just go for the mass, in my opinion. I think they probably have an engineer priority order. We've got 1 Riptide over here. Looks like it didn't get a whole lot done. I didn't see any wrecks, but PD has been queued up. 2 PDs down already. These strikers, they've got a couple of engineers and auroras, not much else at the minute. Not sure they're going to be able to do too much, to be honest. Almost 2,000 HP on each of these T2 mexes. In fact, actually, looks like they will be able to kill it before any auroras come out to stop them. Auroras are closing in. Will they be able to get it in time? Auroras, very long range. There we go. T2 mex goes down. Thomas still out in front by 5 or 10 mass per second. We've got 3 Aurora, conversely, on the very opposite side of the map, taking out some engineers. Looks like some engineers and scout kills, something like that over here. Got an engineer and a mex over here as well. More Auroras crossing the water. They don't have to be dropped, they could just do whatever the hell they like. Absolutely disgusting. Floaty floaty nonsense, as another caster likes to say. Riptides, also floaty floaty nonsense, but it's UEF, so I'm all for it. Just gonna have to back away from that PD there. Got a pretty good number of interceptors, 2 swift winds there, 2 more coming in, a bunch more coming in there. So Tom looking like he's got a pretty significant numbers advantage in the air. A lot of naval factories now on all spokes of the wheel. So we'll see who comes out in top in the Navy. Got a big scouting party out for Tom now. Going to take a look at Jagged's base. Because we've got that T2 air has been completed. Now, despite having far fewer fighters and a lower quality of fighters, Jagged is starting to build some stingers. Those T2 gunships, they can put out a lot of damage, but if the swift winds get to them, they will not be able to do a whole lot of anything, to be honest. Of course, fairly big map, 20k, so the stingers will be able to deal a little bit of damage before they get taken down, of course. Not sure if that's deliberate. Maybe Jagged knows that the enemy interceptors are all over here, so he's just going to go for this island, going to defend on this side, probably going to move up to this island, so a little bit further away from the enemy forces. Good idea. 2 stingers will put down a lot of DPS. 2 auroras here, managing to fire over the cliff. Excuse me, those are spirits. Just 2 damage per shot there coming out. Quite a big naval engagement here. Looks like 1 Aeon frigate has gone down. Got a sub in the mix there. No T2 Navy just yet for either player by the looks of it. Hard to tell who's winning. There is a T2 destroyer, excuse me. T2 Navy has come out for Tom, so that will secure him this battle, I would imagine. going to be very hard for these UEF frigates to do a whole lot of anything now. A lot of mass there being dumped in favour of Thomas. He will be able to suck that up nice and quickly at his leisure. Those two Stingers are coming in. They're going to try and put some damage down. Frigates, of course, with a little bit of anti-air. No, maybe not. The Aeon frigates, I suppose, don't have any anti-air. Neither do the Aeon destroyers. Makes sense given that they have such an advantage in the mid-game with their T2 fighters. 3 Stingers now in the mix, trying to put damage down onto this destroyer. The Swiftwinds and Interceptors have not been called in. This destroyer is in danger of going down. That's quite a lot of mass there. We'll take a look at the wreck when it falls, see how much mass is in there. We've got an opposing destroyer and a bulwark, the shield boat, out for Jagged now. With the help of those Stingers, they will likely come out on top. But the Swiftwinds finally being brought in. The Stingers were able to destroy 1 destroyer. Second destroyer getting down to 2/3 HP, down to about half HP, a little bit more than that. UEF, of course, do have the anti-air on their frigates, so the Interceptor and the Swiftwinds will not want to stick around for too long. How much HP? 8,000 max HP on this shield, so pretty significant. It's got a very wide area. Can be very useful for the UEF Navy, of course. Looks like a factory went down here. UEF factory has gone down to these 3 frigates. Lone frigate out here, just gonna run away, take some engineers while it goes. We do have Januses now. Got all the 1 Janus, got a torpedo bomber as well. Out for Jagged, so again, going for those offensive air units, not going for air-to-air combat. A couple pillars trying to do their best to fight off the Aurora incursion. Just walked across the water like it's nothing. I was going straight for the T2 mexes in retaliation for the T2 mex that was lost earlier for Thomas. Pillars coming in, 3 pillars here against a bunch of Aurora. The pillars, I would imagine, will come out on top, especially while they're within range. Absolutely paper thin. 154 with 1 level of veterancy, but just 140 hit points on an unvetted Aurora. But looks like they are going to get a second T2 mex. It's quite significant. Jagged Appliance falling far behind on the mass income. Not too far behind now, about 20, 30 mass per second behind this torpedo bomber. Not going to get a whole lot done by the looks of it. Maybe you've got 1 pass off, I'm not sure. Thomas getting those engineers out, sucking up those wrecks, but we do have T3 air completed for Thomas. T3 air has just been started for Jagged, 4% complete there. 1 ASF out for Thomas. And we've got an Infinity, that Aeon cruiser with big anti-air capabilities. Going to be doing a lot of work. We've got a big air engagement here. Jagged very much getting the worst of it. A strategic bomber out now for Tom. Just going straight for those mechs. Mexes looks like it's got another one over here. This one I think was a T2 mex, got destroyed, immediately rebuilt. T2 mex over here with no adjacent mass storages. It will go down. This is looking a little bit dicey here. We've got a few flaks. I would like to see Jagged bring those flaks up into a more useful position. Although I suppose there's not a lot here to defend anymore. It has all been destroyed. Significant naval engagement here. Let's take a look at this shield. 8,000 hit points. It's absorbing quite a lot of damage. Absorbed. There it goes. Down it goes. Absorbed 8,000 damage. Did its best. Will slowly recharge its hit points there. Lots of corpses, Aeon corpses, UEF corpses. Looks like Jagged getting the best of that engagement. 2, 3 destroyers, 4 destroyers in there. Just a couple of destroyers for Tom. Not sure whether destroyers have different icons. message down in the chat if you can tell me why that is. I'm sure there's a reason for it. But yeah, this destroyer is doing quite a lot of damage to the Aeon equivalents. Take a look at the hit point values. 7,500 versus 7,200. So UEF actually, surprisingly, with a HP deficit on an equivalent unit. Not every day that you'll see that. T3 Air has been completed. Let's see what starts coming out of this factory. I'd hope to see it whirring into action soon. A lot of engineers sitting down, waiting for orders. Nothing coming out of there just yet. Check back in a second. Got an air engagement over here. ASF going after normally interceptors. We all know how that will turn out. Big naval incursion on this side. So the air very much in favor of Tom, but the navy looking like it's going the way of Jagged for the minute. Aeon ship goes down there. I think that was a destroyer, but Jagged going to retreat. Does not have any governors. Those UEF anti-air ships, the cruisers, so they will have to retreat in the face of all these torpedo bombers. Looks like may have been a slight mistake. Maybe would have been better to wait for this cruiser over here to join with the fleet. Torpedo, we've got 2 cruisers now, so that will help a lot. And I know we've still got 5 destroyers in the mix there, so a lot of frigates going down. Destroyers are being targeted. One of them goes down just there. It's a lot of mass. Another one goes down. 3 destroyers left, but most of the Aeon ships have been taken out. These cruisers really need to get in and start destroying those, what's called, Spectre, and the T2 torpedo bombers as well. Excuse me, skimmers. And the skimmer just gonna go right over a cruiser there. What are we seeing? That looks like another... Is that a destroyer or a cruiser? Let's figure it out. That looks like a cruiser to me, doesn't it? I know I can find out by selecting the player and clicking on the factory, but it's fun to see if we can figure it out just from the silhouette. More torpedo bombers going the way of the Dodo in the face of these cruisers. These cruisers, I was wrong, it was a destroyer, my bad. These cruisers of course have those sea to land missiles, so if they get in range of some T2 mexes, they will be able to dish out a lot of damage. Very hard to stop them. The Aeon do have some pretty good TMD, very good against closely packed missiles, flares coming out of those volcano defenses. Very good, but with a lot of sustained fire. We can see still just those 2 governors, but if we start seeing significant numbers of those governors build up, it will be hard for the Aeon TMDs to fight off those missiles. Got a very significant number. Let's just check that number. 9 skimmers there out now, going after... Looks like they're going straight for the governor. Gonna get some damage down onto it, but not enough. Close, under 500 hit points on the governor. I've got 1 level of vet, so we'll slowly recharge those hit points. Looks like those skimmers just going to back off for now. 2 of them are left over here, a couple over here. Destroyers here getting into the naval base for Jagged. He's going to try and fight them off with 2 of his own. 1 Aeon destroyer goes down. We've got a bulwark coming out. We'll do its best to protect these units before they go down. See if we can get in range in time. Aeon destroyers have found themselves inside a shield. That shot will connect. 1700 hit points on that destroyer now. More frigates coming in from both sides with a destroyer back here. This could be an important battle. We've got a torpedo bomber coming over the top. ASF's out now for Jagged. He's got a decent number of them. Looks like 4 to me, 4 or 5. But the second destroyer has gone down. The Bulwark's still alive. Not a priority though. These destroyers looking like they're going after frigates and engineers instead. As another destroyer is coming out. Will get completed, of course. The question is, what else can this factory produce in time? Hard to say. A couple of those Storks, the UEF Torque bombers, doing their best to clear out those Aeon units, but they have got Aeon ASFs nearby. You have to be careful. One Stork going to go down there. This naval production facility looking like it's in a bad way here, taking a lot of frigate fire. No engineers left to speak of, so they will be producing very, very slowly. I would imagine all of these factories are going to bite the dust. Just the one naval factory over here. There was one up here that got destroyed. Jagged has queued up a bunch more. 2 big old lines there. That looks quite game-changing. Jagged did have a pretty commanding lead in the Navy some time ago, but that has very much been switched around. 2 destroyers remaining in this group here. We've got a bunch more up here for Tom. He is building 4 factories there in the middle, so I imagine not building anything just yet. May start spitting out some frigates, we'll see. Jagged now looking very worried about the situation of his navy and his air. T3 started. Let's check in on the 2 commanders. Not very much interesting goes on with the commanders on this map. Like I said, no reason for the commanders to really do a whole lot of fighting, because everything is so far apart. These destroyers now getting into this spoke, gonna deal some more damage to the naval production. Just gonna completely cancel out the naval production from Jagged. Significant number of ASFs here. I'm surprised that has been allowed to happen. Jagged has actually managed to overcome the air forces. Just 2 ASFs by the look of it, a smattering of interceptors as well. So it looks like Jagged has the air superiority now, which is good because there's a whole lot of torpedo bombers here. Although I suppose there's not a lot of targets for those torpedo bombers to go after anyway. But potentially, given the current state of his 3 islands, he has been bombarded with, well, a couple of shots are making it through. One of these destroyers losing a fight with a cliff there, but destroyers bombarding T2 mexes for Jagged, and some factories and some power, one-shotting that power plant there. Torpedo bombers out for Jagged. Quite a number of them. Aeon with not a whole lot of anti-air to speak of. Just the 1 ASF by the looks of it, so these torpedo bombers will be able to do pretty much whatever they like. The destroyers trying to deal as much damage as they can. In the meantime, a lot of mexes have gone down, a lot of them T2. This one was just T1, I think. This one was definitely T2 with some adjacency. Torpedo bombers just tickling away. Eventually these destroyers will go down, but destroyers getting a lot of damage down. No cruisers coming out. Looks like Tom was relying on his air superiority, but that has not worked. But we do have a missile ship. Excuse me. But we do have a missile ship here. Torrent, the Tech 3 Navy has been completed for Thomas. Let's see what he manages to do with that. This isn't, I believe this is not a nuclear submarine like the UEF ship. I think this is a little bit like the cruisers with their missiles. We've got a battleship up here, the Omen class battleship. Not convinced that either of these have a whole lot of anti-air capabilities, so torpedo bombers out for Jagged. think we'll be targeting those two T3 ships there. We do have a cruiser now, finally. An Infinity class cruiser has come out. And we've got one here, in fact, as well. So they will be protecting the T3 Navy. A few strap bombers. I can see 3 strap bombers out for Jagged, looking like he's going for a snipe, potentially. Not happy with the way the conventional fighting is going, so he's going to have to go for something a little bit drastic. A heavy shield has been started, almost complete there. The light shield has 8,000 hit points. The heavy shield, we'll see in a minute, has 25,000 hit points. When it finally comes up, there it is. This commander looking very beefy. 39,000 hit points total there. We'll take a significant number of strap bombs to kill that. Do we have any anti-air? SAM launcher going up, so the strat snipe is suspected. T2 mech's going down there, but the cruiser will make light work of the bomber before it gets anything else done. Storks being shot out of the air like flies now as they do their best to take down this Infinity. A nuke silo has been started. This battleship not doing a whole lot, taking some chunks out of the cliff there. It's getting some damage there into the shield. A couple more shots will take the shield down. There they come. Very satisfying to see those shots. Very pretty. Looks like they're going after the power. Yes, they are. There it goes. Collateral damage as well. Now that missile silo is coming in, going after the T3 power. It's going to be a real problem for Jagged if that goes down. A lot of he's got his T3 Omni sensor that is presumably going to go down to the explosion as well. A lot of buzzkills are coming out. The buzzkills are the best TMD in the world. See a significant number of them, and they're still having trouble keeping out the missiles from the missile ship there. This battleship just taking chunks out of the base here. Another T2 power generator goes down. That's 3 on the tally. Having a little bit of trouble working against the geometry of the map there. We've got this missile ship still launching its missiles, still doing its work. 4 kills total so far. Finally, we've got enough buzz kills to kill these missiles as they come in. Looks like the missiles are dodging. These missiles might be able to take a couple hits before they do go down. And there's the beauty of this T3 missile ship that the Aeon have access to. Cruiser spam coming out now. Thomas, knowing that all he really needs to do is keep these ships alive, destroy the Storks, destroy those torpedo bombers from Jagged, and he will win the game. That battleship has gone down though. There it goes, bunch of strap bombers. Slide, not this one. Can't find the strap bomber, did it? Maybe the strap bomber's dead. There are a lot of cruisers out here. Strap bomber gonna try and get another shot off. He's gonna get a bomb away. Mostly kill this cruiser, but mostly is not good enough. Missile ship still just pummeling away, doing its best. Not just about being kept out there. So this missile ship effectively neutralized, and this battleship entirely neutralized. 3,500 mass there at the bottom of the sea. You hate to see it. What a buzzkill. The nuclear silo has been complete. Here it is. I believe it takes 5 minutes for a nuke to build a missile unassisted by engineers. Let's take a quick look at the economy. Not even power stalling, so with all these engineers that nuke will be done in a couple of minutes. 1500 build power on that. I would estimate maybe 200 build to power here, so it'll probably take 4.5 minutes for this to be completed. You'll have to check my math on that. We'll see how that progresses. Now we've got fervors have been dropped in. In fact, no, they've been just straight built, going straight after those buzzkills. Is Tom going for nuclear defense? Yes, he is. There it is, but it's only just been started. So if this nuke does come out for Jagged, it will do a lot of damage. But those fervors making a real mess of things. One T1 bomber coming out. We'll be able to one-shot fervors, but take a while for it to kill them all. A lot of buzzkills have gone down. Still enough buzzkills by the looks of it to keep out those missiles from the missile ship. We have a second Omen here. Second T3 battleship. So once that comes into range, it will be able to start working away at these shields again. Again, the geometry not especially favourable. It will be fairly difficult for that Omen to get a lot done. If the Omen does come down this side, maybe it'll be able to go after the T3 power generators. T3 power generator being kept alive about half HP there for Jagged. Very, very important that he keeps that alive. Does not want to lose his power while he's building this nuclear missile. Nuke, incidentally, about 30% complete, something like that. Got the nuke defense, not even 20% complete. It looks like it's being, it's actually being reclaimed. Ah, there we go. Nuclear missile defense. I suppose that may have been an accident. I didn't see this earlier. This nuke defense has already been completed. Take a look at Tom. He is mass stalling. Unassisted, a nuclear defense missile takes about 4 minutes to complete. Not sure. With the mass stall, it's hard to tell how long this missile will take to build, but less than 4 minutes, I would imagine. This missile halfway complete, though. I'm not sure that Tom's going to be able to get that defense up in time. Yeah, I think Jagged's going to finish his missile first, and that will be a huge blow. A lot of power, all of the power generation, and most of the mass generation, I would imagine. Lots of T3 mixes there on this island. No power to speak of on either of the other islands. Got a couple of hydrocarbons, but that won't be enough. If this nuke gets out, I would imagine Jagged will be able to turn this game around. I imagine he will be able to win the game. It's just a question of what he can do. This commander over here is just standing still in the face of a bunch of missiles coming in from that missile ship. That ship deciding it's not going to be able to get through all of these buzzkills, so it's switching its target. The commander over here, apparently Jagged focusing on something else because his commander is in danger, starting to take damage once these shields going down. Once these shields go down, there's no buzzkills on this island here. One did get started but got cancelled. Suppose Jagged wants to make sure that he gets all of his resources going into this nuclear silo, but I can't help but feel like more engineers should be brought in. We've got an excess of power being produced, an excess of mass, being produced. At least 57 mass per tick. Net increase in that bar there, fluctuating a little bit as other things get produced, but 12,000 mass in the bank, 13,000 almost. I would like to see some more engineers on that nuclear silo, but over here, just coming up to about 45-50% complete on that missile defense. Like maybe 85%, almost 90% complete on the nuclear missile. This is very interesting. I think Tom might have made a bit of a mistake here. Didn't have enough scouting out early on. Didn't notice that nuclear missile was going up, or maybe he did notice it and just didn't expect Jagged to be able to finish it so quickly. But this missile defense being built very quickly. You can see how quickly that bar's filling up. Just take one missile there, but oh, it's gonna be so close. Got a bunch of buzzkills now, keeping this commander safe. Take a look at the income. Still floating a bunch of mass. Thomas floating a little bit. He's got a whole lot of income, but this missile coming up to about 70-80% complete. Nuclear missile here, 99% complete. I would imagine it's going to get launched immediately. I would like to see. There it goes. Immediately Jagged launching that missile, and out it comes. This nuclear defense does not look like it's going to be done in time, although it is going to be close. There is, of course, a pretty significant travel time on that missile. We'll keep an eye on it. Out it comes. It's reached maximum height. It's actually going over to this island. Jagged has made a huge mistake. Perhaps he thought that... wow! Perhaps he thought that the commander was over here instead, but... there's no second missile defense that I haven't seen, is there? And the second islander here goes up in smokes, but that seems to be a huge mistake. No missile defense. If Jagged had been able to send enough scout planes over, he would have seen that there was previously no nuclear missile defense on this island. He could have ended the game right then and there. Instead, he wasn't completely sure that he could take out the main island of Tom, so he went after a secondary island instead. A lot of mass goes down, but no power has gone down, so Thomas absolutely fine. He is he's about to start mass stalling very heavily. He's got a missile in that missile defense system already and waiting to go, so this Stone Ager is going to be basically useless if he tries to target this island. Maybe the second missile is going to go after this island instead. He's built... oh no, that's a T2 missile defense. Excuse me. A lot of Navy out now. 2 Omens losing a fight with the geometry. But... a couple of shots coming in. Colliding with the shields there. A lot of T2 shield generators. Got one T3 shield generator in the middle here. Another T3 generator coming up. Wow. I'm convinced that was an entirely intelligence-based error, a intel-based radar coverage, spy plane-based error from Jagged there. And Tom starting a Caesar. Wants to just get this game over with. Once that Caesar comes out, it's hard to see how this base will survive. The Stone Ager, up to halfway complete on the second missile, presumably going to go after this secondary island. Thomas is mass stalling reasonably heavily now. Got 299 income for him, but just 270 for Jagged. So Jagged, after that nuke went out, still very far behind in terms of mass income. Over 100k mass behind in terms of total mass. But a T3 naval HQ upgrade started. Where the hell is that? Here it is. So this spoke of the wheel has gone ignored for the time being. 2 missile ships out now. That original missile ship has been taken over to a secondary island. Lots of particles up. We won't be able to get through there. Couple of 3 T3 mexes on this island here, so Jagged really needs to keep those safe, but yeah, like we see, some of those Riptides will make fairly light work. 15,000 HP melting away. Please micro these Riptides. This missile ship needs to be destroyed. If these Riptides don't do anything soon, they will get destroyed by all of these frigates coming in. We see, looks like another missile ship, a 3rd missile ship has been built. And Thomas starting a GC as well, not satisfied with just building a Caesar. Going for the double game ender. T3 naval HQ has been completed. Looks like a battleship. Or is it... I don't think that is a battleship. Is that a Neptune? Neptune class battle cruiser, maybe? It's not a nuke sub, is it? I don't think whatever it is will be complete. Let's just check. Yep, Neptune class, Tech 3 battle cruiser. 2 of them queued up, but I don't think either of them are going to get finished. Battle cruisers, of course, do a lot of damage to naval units. Not great range, and they don't have any kind of arc of fire to speak of, but very good against other naval units. That's of course why he's building them. Single lone Riptide coming in, desperately trying to build T1 top launchers. Don't know that that will do the trick, even if they do go up. More Riptides coming in, but that Omen making light work of them. Be very surprised if this battlecruiser ever gets complete, although Tom not microing his units especially well. He's actually just gonna retreat there down to about 50% HP on this naval HQ, on this battlecruiser, excuse me. It's about to go down to all of this overwhelming destroyer fire. There it goes. More volley, it'll do the trick. There it comes. That will sink down to the depths. I suppose it'll just stay there looking ugly until it gets reclaimed. Those missile ships doing a lot of work. 5 of them out now. Just absolutely bombarding these bases. A lot of buzzkills still going up. Jagged still in this game. Not dead yet, he says. Second missile almost finished on that Stone Ager. No missile defense on this island, so that will be the target. 1 T3 mechs, 1 almost completed, 1 halfway completed, another 1 halfway completed. So that'll be a half decent blow to the economy, but that first missile could have ended the game, to be honest. The commander would have gone immediately up in smoke there. Jagged will not be happy about that when he watches this replay. Almost finished. I imagine that's going to come straight out over to the northeastern island. He doesn't have any... He's not going for an SMD snipe, doesn't have any strap-ons, anything like that. It comes straight out of the silo. I would imagine that's going to go over here, like I say. No! He finally decides to send a missile. Oh, he's going for the naval production. That is... interesting. I didn't even think of that. Another missile ship has come out, but that naval ship will, that naval factory will get immediately destroyed. An Omen class gets queued up, but it won't ever get finished. This missile ship looking like it's going to get destroyed in this explosion. Just about all these engineers will go to dust. There it goes. All those ships have been destroyed. So Thomas, he has what he has for now. He won't be able to build any more ships for the time being. Very hard to get a good firing solution on this map. 2 Omens stacked up on top of each other, both firing straight into the wall battleships. Not good, says Thomas. These missile ships being countered by the buzzkills fairly effectively. The buzzkills have been destroyed though. You're not good, says Jagged. Very good. That was an excellent use of the nuclear missile. The first nuclear missile, not the best use that I've ever seen, to be honest, but the second one, very nice to see him going straight for that naval production. A couple of factories over here, but of course no T3 production. We do have that Galactic Colossus was finished some time ago. This Caesar coming up to about 70% complete, something like that. So I imagine this GC is just going to walk straight across the water unimpeded. Going to go for this island by the looks of it, going to go after the commander. I don't think Jagged has a whole lot of answers for that. Got a third nuke launcher coming to about 40% complete there. Of course, these torpedo bombers will actually be able to fire on this GC at certain windows. They could fire on it right now, and they can fire on it when it's in this spoke. But once it gets onto land, those torp bombers will be pretty much useless. There's some Riptides, but not a lot else. No Ravagers, no PD. T2 PD has gone up. There's, what is that, 6 currently. 7th one just finished. 8th one being built now. We've got a bunch more. There'll be 10 or 15 T2 PDs there to try and defend against that GC. And the Caesar has been complete, so dual-pronged approach there. He's tired of the naval battle, so instead he's going to go for the land. He's going to go for the air. It's going to end the game right here, I would imagine. Well, in a few minutes, once these units actually make their plodding way over. Do have the personal shield on this commander, so it's sitting at what is that, 34,000 hit points total. But those will melt very quickly in the face of a Caesar and a GC. Fair amount of ASFs, but the Caesar, of course, does have anti-air capabilities of its own. Has a whole lot of hit points, 7,000, excuse me, 70,000, that makes a lot more sense, 70,000 hit points, including the shield on that Caesar, and superior ASFs anyway for Thomas, so not long left. The gun upgrade starting. Suppose he will be able to use the range on his overcharge. I'm going to try and get the damage down onto the GC, but the Caesar coming in, very little anti-air. We've got a couple of mobile flags, 5 or 6 of them there, but here comes the big donut. The shadow is coming overhead. That laser beam, the death ray, has started firing, and there it goes. Absolute chaos in that base. All the shields have gone down, of course. Not sure what the hit points are on this comm, but I can imagine there they go, going down to 0. Nuclear explosion will end the game. Very, very cool. So an interesting game. A couple of mistakes from both players. Jagged looking like he was going to be able to take control of the naval situation early on, but Thomas coming over the top of him. Both players vying for air going a little bit back and forwards, but again, Thomas coming over the top with superior numbers, and just keeping Jagged bogged down in the face of all of these naval forces, all of those missile ships, forcing Jagged to go super defensive. Even once Tom lost the naval production, he had enough missile ships to force Jagged to just hunker down, and in the meantime, Thomas able to use those 400 mass per second coming in, per tick I should say, vastly superior economy to build 2 experimental units. The GC never got anything done, did actually get 1 kill, got a 300 mass kill somewhere, not sure what that was. But there we go. Don't see a lot of Caesars in 1v1 games, but that was very exciting. Very good game. GG, well played, both players. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. Tell me what you would like to see done better in the next video. Tell me what you want me to improve. I want to make these videos as high quality as possible. But yeah, leave a comment. Leave a like if you like the video, want to see more of this content, and subscribe if you want to be notified when I bring out more videos. Videos should be coming out almost daily, I think, for the foreseeable future. Not sure on that, but thanks again. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time. Goodbye.